Welcome back to Crazy Ex Podcast. This week, Roger and I watched Season 1, Episode 12, Josh and I Work on a Case. As always, we'll start off with a synopsis. After a failed scheme, Rebecca engineers a case to sue Josh's landlord for a lack of hot water so they can spend time together. When the landlord tries to settle, Rebecca seeks out a water conspiracy theorist to keep the case going. Meanwhile, Valencia and Greg team up to smoke out Rebecca's fake boyfriend, and Daryl makes a personal discovery about his sexuality and his feelings for White Josh. Roger, what'd you think of this episode?
A plot sucks, B plot's kind of funny. Kind of how I feel about it. I don't have that many notes because I'm just so tired of the A plot. Like, I really am. Like, this whole episode, I was just... Bored isn't even the right word. I was just, frustrated.
I think this episode was kind of boring. I actually had a lot of funny lines. There were a lot of jokes, and I do really like the B-plot. The episode was also weird. I feel like most of the episode was the, pre-scheme, but that's not actually what the episode is about. Yeah. And then it just kind of, abruptly ends, which was strange. It's not weird to end on a cliffhanger, but there was something about the way that it was cut, and then, I don't know.
It didn't feel like a cliffhanger, though.
I mean, I'm pretty interested in how Trent's going to respond to what Rebecca kissing him.
Sure, but that, a cliffhanger felt like open the door and Trent's there, and you're like, what happens next? Yeah. This was we'll be right back from commercial. Oh, episode's done. You're like, what? It
was really weird. That was very strange. I agree. This is definitely not my favorite episode. I do really like one of the songs, but I think the other two songs are not good.
What were the three songs?
Group Hang.
Yep.
The Romantic Moments, which is sort of funny and not exactly a song. It's I don't know.
Flashback.
Sure. And then Cold Showers.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with the B plot? The thing that we liked?
Start with the A plot and finish with something we like. I think is better.
Okay, I did really like I guess this is, it's almost like there's two A plots. There's the first plot about the scheme for Rebecca and Josh to hang out together at the Mexican restaurant. And then when that doesn't work, they do the case thing. So it's almost two things that they're mushing together.
Rebecca and Josh is the A plot.
Okay. Paula's incredibly complex plan to get them to hang out was pretty fucking funny. She dinged his car.
Yeah.
She didn't just know that he was going to go there. She engineered so that he would go there.
Which, considering she threw a window through Rebecca's window, or a rock through Rebecca's window, isn't all that weird.
Yeah.
At least all she did was commit minor vandalism.
That's true. I really hate the Group Hang song. It's one of my least favorite songs in the whole show.
I actually like Group Hang. I thought it was actually funny.
I think the Shakira part is funny, but I hate that most of the song is about the experience of a group hang is actually kind of a relatable thing. When you want to either romantically or you just want to hang out with a person, and then they're I invited these 12 other people, and now we're having a party, and that isn't, as a person whose love language is quality time, sometimes I find that very frustrating. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
I think you're crazy.
You're the one that hates parties.
You're right. I hate, so what you said is different than what I said. What I said is I just don't like talk around mingle parties. It's a waste of my time. I don't have a thing where it's if you invited 3 of our other friends, I'm going to be but we were supposed to have it. Oh, cool, we're hanging out with all of our friends. Now, if you invited someone I didn't like, that's different. But I don't think that's what the group hang is really talking about. They're talking about turning a one-on-one situation into a group situation. I'm I don't know, that's not weird to... unless it was me and my wife are having a Valentine's Day date or something. But
sure.
Yeah.
But most of the song is just about how the restaurant can't decide if it's a Mexican restaurant or an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, I also think the performances in the song are hilarious. They're getting up and dancing and interrupting Rebecca is really funny. The faces are hilarious. The only part of the song I don't really like, and honestly, Rebecca Shakira is pretty funny too. It's her whining in the middle of the song. But yeah, I actually, that's funny to me. Because it was catchy enough that at least wasn't offensive.
We also learned about Beans' nickname, which I thought was pretty funny.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
Well, because we've heard before they talk about their friend Beans, and how they don't like to call him that because it's racist, but he makes them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out that it has nothing to do with the fact that he's Mexican, but because he is a Beanie Baby trader. It's very into Beanie Babies.
Very 90s. He's a little late.
Yeah, he is a little late on the Beanie Babies. But there's got to still be people out there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They're just not actually worth money. Remember when they told us that they'd be worth so much money?
I don't remember that. I wasn't into Beanie Babies, though.
Yeah, I wasn't really. But it was a thing. They used to give them away at McDonald's. There was like the Princess Diana Beanie Baby.
I remember the craze, but I don't remember anything about it.
I also once on a road trip listened to a podcast about the creator of Beanie Babies. It was fascinating. He's nuts.
Yeah. That does not surprise me.
Yeah. Wow, you seem so bored that you're like angry that we're talking about this.
It's just not funny.
The A plot?
Yeah. It's just not. Like, I don't know how to really describe it because I feel like not funny isn't appropriately describing my disdain for this, but like Rebecca's obsession with Josh has just gotten tiresome. Like, there's certainly a way to do it where it's funny. You know, Niles and Daphne were hilarious. Like, that was funny to me. This is just more like sad and pathetic, and it's not very humorous anymore. Like, it's just pathetic. Like, it's also creepy, if I'm being quite honest with you.
It is very creepy.
Very creepy. I've said this before. My complaint about this show is that like the main character is just not very likable, and we're supposed to like root for her. But, like, why would I root for you? Like, that's just, you're doing weird. And, like, every one of her answers is another weird-ass lie. Like, why are you making up a fake boyfriend?
I liked when she says something about because of the one time that I lied to Josh, and Paula was like, I think we've lied to Josh a lot.
She doesn't even say anything. She's just like, It was like, okay, the one time I got caught. And I'm like, does no one else see the problem here?
Yeah.
And remember, she's the protagonist. Like, she's the good guy, allegedly, in this scenario.
Well, I also think another interesting piece is Rebecca, or Greg, is so over Rebecca, yet he's spending a bunch of his time, like, working with Valencia, who he doesn't even like, because he, like, needs to catch her in a lie. Not because he's, like, interested in, like, helping out his friend Josh, but because he's, like, obsessed with Rebecca.
He's not over Rebecca.
No, he's definitely not, but he literally said that to Chris and Josh in this episode.
Yeah, I would not say obsessed is the right word. I would say that he seems to have a vendetta for he's essentially like the bitter ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And because of that, now what's funny is that he's portrayed as like the villain here. And I'm like, but everything he's doing is actually right.
Well, yeah,
like Rebecca's lying. She's been lying the entire time. She's now increased another lie, and rightfully so. He tells Josh, "You cannot trust her." Correct advice. You cannot trust her.
Well, and the thing that is a really good point about like Rebecca. Rebecca is like the villain here because she was out to dinner with a friend. Like, if that is how we're like supposed to be thinking about this.
In what scenario? Who's the friend?
Josh and Rebecca are out to dinner,
and
he's just talking about shit that's going on in his life. My hot water's not working. And as you rightly pointed out, she's a fucking real estate lawyer. And she could have been like, I can help you with that.
But she wasn't interested in that.
Right.
Like, that's like my entire point. Is that, like, I even asked, I was like, isn't she a real estate lawyer? Like, I get it if she was, like, an entertainment lawyer, you know, and, like, she didn't think of that. But it's like, this is literally in your wheelhouse. And no part of you went, I could actually help you with that.
Yeah.
Until it became, I can do something about that to spend more time with him.
Well, and not even just that, like, I can help you with that because I'm a lawyer, but, like, I will make money if I help you with that.
I can literally win this case for the firm, for you. Yeah. Everyone would benefit here.
Then she has a chance to get Josh $10,000, which is a lot of money, and she turns it down because it would mean that they wouldn't get to spend more time together.
12 episodes in, and my initial question of, is she a good person, feels so stupid to me. Like, I want to go back in time and be like, no, and you knew this. You knew she wasn't a good person. Like, I did. I did know that.
Anything more on the A plot you want to talk about here?
You know, Paula's scheming, while impressive, is also tiresome.
Oh, I mean, it's also very creepy.
Well, that, and it's also repetitive. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, they're not, if you're going to keep doing this, you got to throw a new spin on it. And it's like, haven't we seen this a million times? Like, this is the Thanksgiving episode?
Mm-hmm.
Or Christmas, I can't remember which holiday it was. Where it's like, Paula comes up with a scheme so that Rebecca can spend time. Valencia sees right through it. And it's just like, we're repeating stories already in the same season. We're repeating the story with like a minor twist to it. Yeah, I guess Greg is part of this, and that's kind of funny. They do like the Watergate thing.
They meet in a parking garage.
Also, why Valencia is not on the lease, which, okay, that makes sense because...
How is Josh's credit better than Valencia's?
Probably because he has no credit.
So he didn't, like, fuck up his credit.
Yeah.
He just, yeah.
But think of like a child, right?
Yeah.
Like they've just done nothing, and Josh does not seem like an adult in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, no, that...
Maybe his parents co-signed the lease.
Probably not, since they didn't want him to move in with her.
That's true.
Yeah, I would say that's probably not likely. Also, the one thing that we could at least count on with Rebecca, for the most part, was that she was a good lawyer.
Yeah. I mean, she did just uncover a thing that could potentially make them millions of dollars, but she followed a water truther into a sewer.
Also, I actually think that's going to hurt her case. I think this is going to absolve the landlord because the landlord had nothing to do with it.
Well, yeah, they're not going to sue the landlord now. They're going to sue the utility company.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they do, but also, like...
I mean, the risk of that is a lot higher, though.
Yeah.
Because they will be able to pay for very fancy lawyers.
Just...
Which I guess Rebecca is a fancy lawyer, but...
Sure, but they're a fancy lawyer with fancy lawyer firms behind them.
Yep. Fancy lawyer firms that have money to spend.
Real money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know...
Like, Daryl is a small-time real estate
And also,
lawyer.
the way they acquired this evidence was from a conspiracy truther of water. That's going to hold up in court pretty well.
He is a former utility employee.
Well, those people are never around. That would be so hard to pick apart in court. Do you have a vendetta? Are you a crazy person who eats rats? Mm-hmm. Is this the kind of person you want on the stand?
I also love that, like, at one point, the crazy person, like, calls out Daryl for being crazy.
Yeah.
You're like, Daryl, you should be concerned.
Yeah, when a crazy person looks at you and goes, like, chill out, that's bad. And also, like, she is pushy to a unhealthy degree.
Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you flip the dynamics of this gender, it's very uncomfortable to watch.
It's uncomfortable to watch when she's a woman.
Sure. So imagine if this were a man who refuses to accept no for an answer.
Don't worry. You'll get to see that shortly.
Yay? I don't know that that's a good thing. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just a bad dynamic. And, like, there are ways to do this, I'm sure, where it doesn't feel as creepy, where maybe you notice it, but, like, it's like, no, I don't want this. I'm going to do it anyway and talk to all your neighbors and get you to sign and pester you again. Or, hey, I'm feeling uncomfortable by hanging out with you after you clearly lied to me. I'm going to have my friend ding your car. Like, this is... Crazy ex-girlfriend is literally an understatement.
Interestingly, I got the sense that Paula did that before she talked to Rebecca about it. I do not think that part was Rebecca's idea, the car dinging.
I think she knew she was going to do that, whether she did it before or she did it after, but she definitely had a plan.
Well, Paula's getting real extreme here. She just wants to, like, get Josh arrested or burn him with hot coffee.
Yeah, what the fuck? But, I mean, her only concern is not Josh's happiness. It's she wants to win.
Yeah.
She just wants to win.
Well, and I think she gets, like, a high from...
Yeah, obviously, because she lived out the Apollo 13. Like, she has, like, a formula, like, this complicated thing, and it's just really different ways to get Josh. I'm just like... That woman's crazy.
Yeah, she is. She's also, like, kind of obsessed with Rebecca, specifically, too.
She's obsessed with Rebecca and Josh.
She's obsessed with Rebecca and Josh, but she also, they have that, like, weird kind of, like, mother-daughter dynamic, but then sometimes she says things like, people think they're fake, but when you get up close, you realize that no human could design these, about Rebecca's boobs. Rebecca does have very nice boobs, but... That's
probably the least obsessive thing she does in this episode. That feels... I know women who talk like that to each other. That's relatively normal-ish.
It is relatively normal for women to talk to each other like that, but it's kind of weird when Paula is constantly setting it up in, like, a mother-daughter relationship.
Yeah, think of it more like sisters.
All right. I do love that... What a weird way to say this. When you're trying to tell someone that they're sitting on a gold mine, like, starting it off with, how does your ass feel?
I mean, hilarious in an episode where Daryl is not sure if he is both sexual or not.
I'm both sexual.
Yeah. How does your ass feel is a pretty hilarious way to set up a line. Mm-hmm. And obviously they planned that. That was the way that they were going to do that.
But she uses it twice, because she says it later to Daryl about the not taking the settlement and moving to the higher moneymaker.
Also, I really like both times when Paula basically has to tell Josh that he's an idiot.
Aw, pumpkin.
It's just damn, he's dumb. I don't know. I guess I would be judging you if you were that interested in somebody that dumb. It'd be really? That's your dream?
Yeah,
look, you love who you want to love.
Josh is very dumb.
He's dumb as fuck. Mm-hmm. He has one thing going for him. He's hot. That's it. He's so hot, all the girls in town are into him for the most part.
He's nice.
That doesn't matter. He's hot. You think the girls are in town into him because he's nice?
Valencia's not. She doesn't like that part about him.
And she's also not nice to be
That's fair. Correct. One of my favorite parts of the episode is when Josh, we got to see Chris again. I fucking love Chris.
Chris is great. I'm a digital addict.
And his school went charter, so now he's smart.
Oh, I thought they made my school went charter. That's where he was able to make religious references.
What was the reference? No, it was a Faust reference.
Yeah, that's what the devil sold Faust.
Right, but it's not it's like.
What do you think Lucifer is? Non-religious?
But it's like a book.
Yeah, so is the Bible. I hear you.
Well, he
it was definitely talking about mythology.
There was previously something that he didn't know, and he was like, "What do you want? I go to a public school."
Yeah, math.
So,
it was some math thing. Yeah, and he went charter. Yeah, I mean, I just thought that I thought it was a joke about how they're teaching us mythology now in the way that you don't get taught in public school.
I also love that Chris and Greg have each other's phone numbers and they text each other.
I don't know that I love that. It's not the way I would phrase that. No, I don't love that.
Greg's best friend is the 12-year-old that hangs out and for some reason is allowed to sit at the bar. It's already weird enough that this child sports complex is a bar, but then the children can sit at the bar?
I would say that West Covina, much like many small towns, I presume, has a more lax interpretation of rules.
It's not that small of a town.
I mean, it's pretty small.
I don't think so.
What do we define as small town?
Less than 10,000?
Is that the...
Please excuse us while we...
105,000 people.
Yeah, that's a pretty big town.
It's bigger than I would have imagined.
Yeah, it's a city.
Yeah. I don't know. That's it's a small town for Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's not in Los Angeles. It is
It's part of Greater Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's in LA County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
and also Josh wants a hoverboard.
I mean,
who doesn't want?
I want a hoverboard. That's totally fair.
He's like, well, obviously I want a hoverboard, but also I want to build our life together.
Yeah, I want to buy a stock or 2 stocks. How many stocks are you supposed to own?
Yeah.
That man is dumb.
Yeah, although it is... I don't know that much about stocks. I know that you own more than one stock, but I don't know very much about stocks.
Yeah, I know enough to know that it's not you own a stock.
Yeah.
I would just say
you can own a stock if you want.
But people who are trying to use it as an investment opportunity are not putting a stock into them. Yeah, it's just not... It's not how it works. Diversify your funds. Yeah, what's funny? This episode really made me see Valencia in a more sympathetic light, and I don't think that's what I was trying to do.
Oh, interesting.
But it made me go God, yeah, Valencia's definitely the victim here.
Yeah, I mean, a woman that she has repeatedly pointed out to everyone that is lying and scheming to get with Josh is continuing to do that. I mean, they definitely make her into a cardboard villain in this episode.
But she's not wrong to feel the way she feels.
Yeah. And it does feel... It feels kind of nuts for Greg to get involved because, other than Josh is his friend, but no one will believe Valencia, so she, needs to come up with some proof, so that's what she does in this episode.
I also, it only feels wrong because we're supposed to root for our main character, but if you replace Rebecca with, any other person who was doing what she was doing, we would not say that was a wrong thing. We'd be like, yo, you're stopping the lying, scheming psycho who's trying to break up you in a relationship. In all other contexts, stopping Rebecca is just fundamentally a good thing.
Yeah.
Because, everything she's doing is bad.
Well, and it's hard to, I can, see why Valencia keeps failing because everyone is obsessed with Rebecca. But also, Rebecca was like, hey, we can do this case, and Valencia was like, I think you're lying. And, the case was real.
Mm-hmm. But she's not even denying that the case is real. But she's saying
no, Valencia's not, but it's just making it harder for her to, prove that Rebecca is a lying bad person.
Rebecca is gaslighting Valencia.
Yeah.
100%. And, Valencia is starting to see through it.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, oh, you're just being a jealous. The problem is Valencia is right, but she's not likable.
Yeah.
So, people are just like, well, you're just an intense asshole. It's that's true. She is. But she's correct. She's nailed Rebecca for exactly what she is, that she lied and moved to. Although, by the way, when we started this series, you had said, she kind of moved here for Josh, but not entirely. And then now Rebecca's just out and out saying that she moved here for Josh. She's not denying that part anymore. It's literally just, I moved here because I was in love with Josh for Josh. Direct words from her mouth.
I also think that that's partially because Rebecca is obsessed with Josh now.
As you don't think she was before?
She hadn't thought about him in years.
Until she saw him.
On the street.
And then moved across the country for him.
I'm not saying she didn't move here for Josh, but I do think that how sad she was an element of why she moved.
Well, the fact that Rebecca herself seems to contradict you...
Because Rebecca is such a reliable narrator.
In any other scenario, I would totally concur with you, but you kind of do have to believe the liar when they stop telling the lie and tell you the truth, don't you? She would seemingly know better than most, and this is the one thing that we maybe can trust her about. Did you move across the country for Josh? Yeah. All right. And also, the events seem to line up with what she's saying in a way that really is never true. I can't think of anything else she's usually honest about.
No?
Yeah, so I'm maybe. Yeah, no, Valencia was interesting in this one. Daryl definitely did not feel like the boss as far because he's part of both the A and B plot, oddly enough.
Yes, he is.
When he's part of the A plot, he definitely feels like her associate, not, her boss. And also, why doesn't he just make her take the settlement? It's your firm!
Yeah, I can understand why he would be, because they don't, other than time, they don't, and resources, but they don't lose anything if they lose the case. Other than the money they would have gotten from... But a portion of $1 million that is split between...
100 tenants.
Yeah. Is it to White Feather, that's money, but it's not, tons of money.
So the risk is worth it for
Yeah.
them. Okay.
But to, Josh and Valencia, $10,000 is a lot
He
of
just
money.
seemed like he was very desperate to get that settlement.
Yeah, oh, no, because, I think because it was... That's a big settlement from... Josh doesn't look like he lives... It's hard to tell, but it doesn't look like a building that has,
This isn't a high-rise.
1,000... Yeah. And it's probably a landlord that owns many buildings.
Yes.
So, they're willing to settle. But that's a good settlement.
Yeah. It's also good for the reputation.
And they weren't even working on it for that long, so they didn't have to put in, a ton of resources or whatever. Which means that their case is good and the evidence is there.
Yep.
Which I can see why Daryl would take that as, well, we have the evidence, but they would need different evidence to sue the utility company. That is, they would need evidence that is not water truther, which maybe they have. I don't know, because we don't actually ever see the evidence. But I can see why Daryl would be taken with this idea. But you are right that he just lets Daryl sort of acts like Daryl is a lawyer. But Daryl acts like he's the owner of this law firm or the director and is not a lawyer and just hires lawyers.
Doesn't feel like he's a partner.
Yeah.
It really does feel like he's removed himself from the law.
He just lets Rebecca do whatever she wants.
Which,
she is the best lawyer at their firm.
By far. She doesn't end up naked in bed with a guy for 6 days because he's so needy unless she wants to be. Unlike, what's his name again? The Canadian guy?
Tim.
Todd?
Tim
Horton.
That's not how you remember his name?
Yeah.
Because he's Canadian? Okay.
100%.
Well, and then there's the coworker Jim, which is, I think that's why it's hard for me. Jim and Tim.
Yeah. The one who was afraid of the federales.
Well, Tim is the one that's afraid of the federales.
Yeah, Tim. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this, in a season full of bad Rebecca episodes, this might have been one of the worst. Like, honestly, all of the people who I'm supposed to dislike in this episode are like Valencia and Greg. I come away going like, good job, guys. You're right. I'm rooting for Valencia and Greg to get it right, and I don't even really like Valencia that much, but I want them to win.
I do not think that you are intended to dislike Greg.
I think you're intended to dislike Valencia.
Yeah, I agree. You are intended to dislike Valencia.
And I think when he lies with Valencia, you're intended to like yes. The whole scene of Rebecca being like, what the hell, are we not friends now? Like, no. Like, I'm pretty sure...
Remember the last time you saw him, he walked out of your apartment and told you were a terrible friend?
Yeah, and also I'm pretty sure he said, we're not friends, you're a terrible person.
Yeah.
So, you go, Greg.
Do you want to talk about the B-plot?
Let's do it. Much better. B-plot was much better. I love
what's going on with Daryl.
Daryl is a weird dude.
Daryl is very weird.
Yeah. Very, very socially awkward.
Yeah.
Say. And, like, White Josh is so calm and just, like, nonchalant about the whole thing. Like, even the way he reveals that he's gay, it's just like, well, yeah, I was gay and you're being kind of cute. Which is, I was like, wait, White Josh is gay? Because no one does mention it, which is strange.
It is strange, but also he makes a good point that, like, well, we don't call Greg straight Greg.
Totally fair. We also don't call Greg white Greg.
He, now that you have that context, yeah. Jim Rat White Josh, of course he's gay. That's such a gay stereotype, and we didn't see it at all because no one ever said anything. What?
You have this weird thing that you just think that buff guys are gay. That's
a thing, Roger.
A square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square.
I don't think that all.
Oh, I know. But you associate it with it.
But then he kissed Daryl on the cheek, and Daryl. Yeah. It didn't even occur to Daryl that that could be a thing.
I don't know. I thought that's what he was worried about.
I think that Daryl was freaked out because he was realizing that he had feelings for White Josh, but he was like, what did that even mean? Why did he do that? Why was I interested? Why do I care?
No, that's fair. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just definitely his point is completely valid. Yeah, you're right. We don't just be like, well, here's straight Greg. Also, we don't typically call people White Chelsea Josh. Or White Josh. This shows, or Beans. Right, the names that we typically use for people are not so descriptive. But yeah, it is relatively notable. It is kind of weird that it has never been brought up at all. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying you need to be weird about it, but definitely it was a bit of didn't get, because I think you do this more than I don't assume that an in-shape person who works out of the gym is gay. It could be, but I know more athletes than you do, so I know plenty of in-shape men who work out of the gym who are straight. It's also hard because Josh is a little bit of a bro, I don't think Asian Josh is gay.
He is definitely not, yeah.
But what's the difference in the way they act?
We know, Josh has a girlfriend, which is
Besides, if we didn't see Josh's girlfriend, what is the difference in the way they act, dress, look, take care of themselves? All of their outward-facing things are identical. That's why we call them White Josh and Josh.
Yeah.
They look the same.
Yep, that's accurate.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite lines is when Daryl is now, trying to convince White Josh that he's straight, and he was like, I like women. I like their bird-like voices. Does that sound gay?
Yeah! Literally, when he said that in my brain, I was like, yeah, dude. When I say I like women, I don't say I like their bird-like voices. That's never once been a way I've described anything. Ever. In fact, I was confused because that would sound annoying, not pleasant.
Yeah. And then he goes to that cardio mama class, and then afterwards he's talking to White Josh, and Josh was like, no better way to prove to yourself that you're straight than a barefoot cardio mama class.
Yeah, it's weird because definitely Josh is way more calm about this. It makes me think that he's like gone through this before.
Yeah, I mean he's clearly very comfortable with the fact that he's gay. Yeah. So like I think he says that he assumed that Daryl was.
But he isn't. Like, if you've never experienced somebody not understanding their sexuality, it makes sense that they might be like, what the hell's wrong with you? Where he's just like, oh, this is normal. This happens. Like,
it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that, like, he's not, like, obsessed with Daryl. Nope. He just thinks that he's cute.
Yeah.
And they had a great time talking about gym stuff on the party bus that one time. So, like, they have things in common. They like each other. He's like, yeah, you're cute.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
Yep. Yeah. It's just very normal for him. And Daryl is like, oh my god, what the fuck? It's almost similar to the way that, like, Josh and Rebecca are. Josh is pretty low-key and normal about things, and Rebecca's kind of a psycho.
Yeah.
And she's got that same weird social awkwardness that Daryl has, and doesn't know how to conduct herself, and goes to these ridiculous lengths to try to explain herself, and Daryl's doing the same thing. You're like, the Joshes seem to be more chill.
Well, I would also assume that, Daryl is quite a bit older than White Josh.
Well, certainly he looks quite a bit older.
Yeah.
He might not be, just because he didn't take care of himself. But I would suspect he's at least 10 years older.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the whole Mamba class was...
The butts?
The butts. Like, what? Just, like, that's funny. Like, that was hilarious how he's, like... looking at the female butt, like, trying to get turned on by it, but then he keeps coming back to the male butt. He's just like...
Well, I think that it's not that he's trying. I think that he's like, I do like this butt. I like this female butt. I like female butts. And then he's like, but also this male butt. Do you like both the butts?
So I think that, like, he felt like he was supposed to only like the female butt.
Yeah.
And I think, like, he was trying to be like, no, this is what I want to look at. But he's like, you didn't really want to look at that. You wanted to look at the nice male butt right there. And that's why I think he's like, I don't know. And it was just funny to see it, like, visually play out.
Yeah. Well, there's an excellent Daryl song coming your way. Cannot wait.
Next episode?
I think so. Probably. It's great.
Is it I Like Guy Butts and the sound of I Like Big Butts?
No.
Damn.
It's called Getting By.
Oh. Wow. All right.
Anything else?
That was funny. And, like, way to do what's normally a pretty serious situation and put some real levity on it. Like, the B plot was good. That was funny. I can't wait to see Daryl awkwardly try to explain it. Like, he's going to fumble all over this. You just know he is.
Oh, of course. That's just Daryl's. It's a hallmark of Daryl's personality.
100%. Lines?
I think I went through all of mine, actually. Valencia is better at complaining. That was one of my favorites.
Facts.
Josh is many things, but he's definitely not good at complaining, and Valencia is so good at it.
I saw a meme the other day. It was like, men, why do you marry strong, bitchy women? And somebody responded with, well, somebody's got to tell the waiter I didn't order mashed potatoes, and it's not going to be me. Fucking crying. Two lines we did not touch on, but I thought were pretty funny. Paula is obviously on an Apollo 13 kick. We put a man on the moon. Yeah? Not at all relevant to this.
You didn't do that, Paula.
Yeah, we put a man on the moon. We? And then I like Valencia's insult of like, because you eat bagels after 8 p.m.
I liked Rebecca's response. Don't underestimate the joy of a midnight bagel.
That's why Valencia looks the way she does and Rebecca looks the way she does. Probably shouldn't eat bagels after 8 p.m., especially with cream cheese. Just going to point that out. And then Josh's,
California bagels.
Huh?
Especially California bagels.
They're all the same. No. It's just bread, right? Is New York bread different?
It tastes better.
You sure that's not like just like a subconscious thing that you just...
Because I don't like bagels.
Yeah.
And I will eat...
but like society tells you New York bagels
if they're hot, I'll eat a bagel from almost anywhere. But
like, you think you could blind taste test it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's not to say like if someone like using the New York style of making bagels just happens to live in California. I don't know that I could tell the difference between that and a New York bagel, but Like they're made differently.
Oh, so it's like a preparation thing.
Yes.
It's not different bread. It's just bread. It's a circular bread. Circle.
It's bread that's too dense. It's also how I feel about pretzels. Like soft pretzels.
Oh, it's like, what? They're like crunchy. Then I realized you meant soft pretzels. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I think I have 2 favorite moments.
Go.
Greg and Valencia meeting up in the parking garage, like their
Watergate
or Watergate or something.
That was great.
It was great. I love how Greg's like, "Why did you call me?" And Valencia's like, "Because you're the only one that will believe. Like, you're the only one that believes me." And then the tag with the window washers at the end of the episode.
I would have liked that had I not been so caught off guard by it.
And we heard about the prostitute that's breaking up marriages again. I love that they like inserted that joke earlier in the episode. Like he overhears them talking about some legal thing, and they're like, "Come on, stop doing this. We've talked about this." And then they all clearly just like listen to gossip from where they wash windows and then share it with each other. At home base, everyone's favorite bar.
Yeah, why is everyone going to home base?
I don't know.
I mean,
it's a really weird place to go if you don't have a kid or a friend that works there.
Like I get like just a random bar, but like this is like a sports bar for parents.
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite moment. That's how bored I was in this episode.
Oh wow. My favorite song was "Cold Showers."
Cold shower.
The Music Man song.
What's funny, when you described your frustration with group hanging, that was my frustration with cold showers.
Oh.
I did not like the music. I did not like the...
It doesn't surprise me that you did.
Yeah, I was just like, this song is terrible.
It is...
They said it's something off the Music Man.
It's from the Music Man, and I think the thing that I really like about it is it's not just a spoof of, like, the way that it sounds, or, like, the
cadence?
The cadence of the song. It's what the song is about. Like, the song in the Music Man is also about, like, they're corrupting your children. I just like that they mashed the content and the styles.
It had that annoying, preachy, like, call to action, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, ooh.
Cold showers are the gateway drug to crack.
Yeah, like, that was funny, but, like, for the most part, I was like, that song ending was probably one of my favorite moments.
Is your most ridiculous moment the whole episode?
No.
I just have one.
Go.
Rebecca kissing Trent and just hoping that he'd roll with it. I mean, I don't know what else she was going to do, but this just feels nuts, and I don't know what's going to happen now.
My ridiculous moment is this episode and still the premise of me supposed to be rooting for Rebecca.
Fair.
Like, I just am not... Like, I feel like I have missed something because I don't understand it. And I'm, like, trying to figure it out, and I'm like... It's almost like the show is backwards for me. Like, I feel like Rebecca should be the cartoon villain here. And Valencia should be, like, the damsel in distress. And Greg should be the knight in shining armor. And Josh is, like, the doofus... younger sibling, like Joffrey, you know, the younger son. I was just like, oh, this would make more sense if all these roles were just inverted.
I wish I could just, like, I almost just said I wish I could take a recording of what you just said, which is literally what a podcast is. But right. Just wait for that.
I keep hearing just wait.
I mean, I think that your expectations of how quickly this is going to move might be low, but... It will happen before the end of the season.
It's not so much like, yes, like you like slower shows than I do. We've talked about this many times. It's more so that like everyone else is moving at a faster pace. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like if I were to say, where did the characters start and where did the characters get to by episode 12? Everyone else has at least made some progress. And then our one main character who gets the most screen time is like here.
Yep, I feel that. So
it's kind of like, what are we doing? And like, I don't even think she's like a bad actress. So it's not anything like that. It's just like the character is just not pleasant to root for. And also like everything revolves around one story with her. Like there's no like I liked when Naomi was in town. That was interesting. Mm-hmm. But then all things end up circling back to Josh.
You just said it. I have one loser and it's Rebecca.
I was trying to think of like who else could be a loser, like an addition, and I couldn't really think of anyone else. I figured you might put Greg.
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good point, but I don't know. Maybe I'm like holding out hope that this will somehow help him get over Rebecca. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, too, because, like, again, there's definitely a point where it's like, dude, you really do... I mean, like, he's bitter, and I totally get that. That makes a ton of sense. But, like, it's also a weird way to portray his bitterness because fundamentally, at the core, he's right. Mm-hmm. Like, she is lying. She's very clearly lying. What she's trying to do is break up Valencia and Josh. Even if he doesn't like Valencia, he probably at least respects it like that should be Josh and Valencia's decision. And then she lied.
I want to know, because in that scene when she, like, knocks on the door and Valencia answers and then, like, Greg is there and they're, like, clearly scheming. Greg is, like, holding a notebook and I'm like, Greg, what'd you write down in the notebook? Did you, like, are you, like, keeping track of something that Rebecca is, like saying you're doing?
I thought it was going to be, like, a directory of people from Harvard. Like, I thought, because it was Crimson, so I thought it had something to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also almost chose Paula.
Interesting. Why Paula?
Because she did successfully get them to the dinner, but it didn't have the results that Paula wanted and Rebecca wanted. Because it, like, turned into a group hang. He then said that thing to Hector that was like, I'm still weirded out about this. And then Rebecca is the one that comes up with the idea about the case.
I want to touch on that, and I meant to write that down. The other thing that kind of bothers me about this, so it was one thing when, like, Rebecca didn't entirely know Josh's feelings. Mm-hmm. She clearly heard him say, I'm uncomfortable with this situation, and forced herself into his presence more.
Yep.
Like, what is wrong with you? Like, at some point, you're an obsessive stalker.
She's definitely an obsessive stalker.
But, like, okay, there's, like, a cute way to do that, and then there's you're crazy. Like, this is not okay.
Well, there's also, like, I agree. I don't know that there's anything wrong with her, like, being like, hey, Josh, we're friends, but I also, like, need to let you know, like, before all the scheming. Like, hey, I'm really attracted to you. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Josh did with her. Mm-hmm. And then, like, give him a chance to answer. Mm-hmm. And then...
But he did answer.
Yeah.
And she, instead of accepting that, just decided, I'm gonna figure this out. I didn't mention my favorite song was Group Hang, but it certainly was, mostly because of the performances. Like, they were hilarious. Like, White Josh, the conga line, or like, it reminded me a little bit of like Queen, but like when they would pan to them and then they would all just like move their mouths but not move anything else. And just like that, da-da-da-da-da. And then at one point they go through all of the like things that make no sense. Like, and Rebecca's like, what is going on here? Like, it went from a song.
Does anyone of Hispanic descent even work here?
Like, aren't you bothered by this? Like, it was just funny. Because, yeah, she definitely goes from like the Shakira thing to just kind of like making fun of it. I also would not have guessed that a Jalapeno Jacks was anything other than like Cali-Mex, Tex-Mex. Like, Italians are part of this too? Like, how weird.
Well, and I wouldn't even necessarily, if it was just guacamole pizza, like, I'd be like, yeah, you know, you made a pizza that has Mexican ingredients.
Sure.
But it sounds like there's other things happening.
Yeah, it's some weird shit.
Yeah, potato soup that is maybe mashed potatoes.
That's not what I think of when I think of Mexico.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, really, Rebecca was the very, very clear loser. Paul is an interesting one. Certainly agree with you that her scheme didn't work, but boy, she got the scheme there. Like, it feels like she got the job done, and then Rebecca fucked up.
Yeah, no, that could be. I didn't put her as a loser. I just, I was very impressed with the scheme, but then...
Yeah, it was a very impressive scheme.
Yeah.
Also got to live out our Apollo 13 fantasy.
Yep.
Oh, we saw Mrs. Hernandez.
We did see Mrs. Hernandez.
I feel like we haven't seen her in a while.
I have one winner.
I have two. Go.
I have Daryl.
He's not one of my two. Go.
I was having a hard time.
Is it because he's now both sexual?
Yeah, because he's both sexual.
That's such a great phrase. Because, like,
Wait, Josh, I think we just call that bisexual.
If you just don't know English that well, it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, because you have asexual, which is the absence of, so then, like, both sexual is you like both. Like, that makes sense. Let's not get into an argument about, like, you know, there are more than two genders, because that doesn't really work for this conversation.
Pansexual.
I know, but you can't say both, and like, both means both. Like,
yeah, so does bi.
Yes, but if there are more than two, then both no longer applies, because both means like one and two, all of. It wouldn't be an inclusive term.
I see what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
I just I was having a hard time choosing a winner in general.
Sure.
And I think that he overcame like what is arguably like a pretty big deal for a person to like understand their sexuality.
I do think he rushed it.
Yeah.
Probably a thing you should.
Well, he has been thinking about that kiss on the cheek for a long time. Like, I think that was weeks ago.
But that's different than exploring, like, do you have bisexual feelings or tendencies? And like I don't know that he was thinking about it the way that you probably need to think about a decision like that.
And then he just, like, instantly went to kissing Josh. But also, Josh is hot, and Daryl got to kiss him.
That's fair. No, no issues with that. So that's your winner?
Yeah.
Interesting. White Josh.
Yeah, I think that's a good choice.
Just the way he played this whole episode was money. Just
I'm chill.
Yeah.
You're clearly gay, Daryl.
You'll get there. Like, I'm here. You'll come around. I'm not pressed. Like, it's fine. You'll get there. I mean, there's no better way to show that you're a straight man than a barefoot cardio mamba class. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just funny now that we know that he is gay, and I'm like, him and Josh are the same person. Like, whatever stereotypes you think, they're indistinguishable in my opinion. Like, that's why White Josh is a funny joke. So I'm just like, yeah, it's quite hilarious. And then this is my favorite winner of this one, Valencia.
Yeah, that's a good one. I actually, like, as we were talking, I was like, oh yeah, that is. I wish that we hadn't, like, weirdly abruptly ended the episode, because I feel like whatever conversation is about to happen is going to result in Valencia winning. But I mean, she did somehow track down this person and convince him to come to her house.
Because he lives in Los Angeles.
He does.
So he's maybe not that far away, but he doesn't know these people.
LA is big, and it's...
Yeah, 2 hours from the beach, but I don't know how far West Covina is from...
I mean, how long does it take to drive across Los Angeles? Like an hour?
What time of day?
But it's 2 to 4 hours from the beach in traffic.
Correct. So it depends what part of Los Angeles, what time of day, what day is it. I mean, could have been 30 minutes, could have been 3 hours. Mm-hmm. Like, LA is weird. But definitely, this feels like a validating episode for Valencia. Like, all the things that she has suspected.
No, yeah.
Very true. Greg's on her side.
I'll take that.
You adding Valencia?
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I really considered adding Greg on this one. I ultimately didn't, but, like, he was staring at the winner's circle for me. Like, I just kept him off the podium.
I don't think this is good for Greg. Kind of in the same vein of, like, I'm gonna go to this barefoot cardio mama class to prove to you that I'm a straight man. He's like, I have a girlfriend. I'm happy. Now I'm going to obsess about Rebecca.
But it's not obsess about Rebecca. It's obsess about Rebecca's lie, which is actually more important than not, because, like, if she really did move here for Josh and is trying to scheme to break up Josh and his girlfriend...
Is that why he's doing it?
We don't know. That's why I said if he... And, like, should you trust this person? Is that the kind of person you want in your friend group? No. Now, there's also the issue that, like, you also haven't really dealt with whatever happened with you and Rebecca. Like, obviously there's some unresolved issues. Which, normally it seemed like at the end of the last episode he had gotten there. Like, he figured it out. And then, I also think that, like, he's just bitter. Mm-hmm. And he's figured out that she's lying, and now he's like, I'm going to hurt you the way you hurt me. Mm-hmm. Kind of like in the other podcast, we talked about, like, Hook makes that line, I'm going to hurt you the way you hurt me. Mm-hmm. So, like, fine. Like, this might be a revenge thing. There's a whole lot of things. Or he could just be still obsessed with her and in denial. Who fucking knows?
Well, next time we're going to watch Josh and I Go to Los Angeles.
Goody.
2 episodes from now, the episode is called Josh Has No Idea Where I Am. Are you excited about that?
No. No, I'm not. Yeah, it's funny. Like, if you ask me, what are you looking forward to? It is everything other than the A-plot. Paula and her husband, whose name escapes me. Scott. Hilarious. Can't wait to see more of them. The Daryl and White Josh thing. Hilarious. Would love to see some more Greg and Heather. They're funny together. Valencia is always funny when she's on screen.
I want some Heather.
Yeah.
It is. Any of that.
This is actually almost worse than the other podcasts where it's like, yeah, the main character's annoying, but, like, at least the other stuff is funny around her. This is like I'm just happy when she's not on screen. And it's not because I think she's bad. I just think the character is just not funny. Like, they haven't done a good job in the last few episodes of making her compelling.
Heather will be in the next episode.
It's good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the Heather-Greg conversation will be fascinating. Fascinating.
I love it so much.
I like, this Greg-Valencia alliance is interesting to me because I also feel like there's a Greg-Valencia conversation that has never happened that should have happened.
Which is...
Yeah.
I fucking hate you?
Well, I don't know that he hates her. I think she thinks she's intense and doesn't treat Joshua with respect. Both are correct. Mm-hmm. But, like, there's a fundamental difference between I hate you and, like, hey, you do things I don't like. Like, there's a middle ground between that. And, you know, now Greg is a bit of an extremist. Also, even the kid. The kid's funny. What's his name? Chris. Like, it's like, somehow this reminds me of that Brooke Shields show that you can remember that I can't.
Suddenly Susan.
Yes. Everyone on the side of Suddenly Susan was pretty fucking funny. Brooke Shields, not funny to me. Like, just never really cared for her. This isn't a Rebecca Bloom issue or a Rachel Bloom issue. This is a Rebecca Bloom issue.
I don't know why that's so hard.
I don't know either.
There's something about the, like, cadence of the names that, like, I actually wrote Rachel twice in my notes today.
Yeah, it's too close together in the way you say it and the way it, like, comes off your... So it just does... Like, I could easily call her Rebecca Bloom or Rachel Bunch. I mean, like, it just does feel similar. Yeah, no, it's... I know you say it's a long journey, but I'm just like... Yeah, it's long. Like, it's a... Like, if you're going to be long, then I need more over-the-top funny the way Niles and Daphne were. Mm-hmm. The way Castle and Beckett were. Like, this... And I know you don't agree, but, like, most of us who hated Sam and Diane, this feels like Sam and Diane. And just like, I just don't care. Like, can we just do it? And the rest of Cheers, hilarious. Like, really great. Funny. Love it.
Norm!
Yeah. Norm and Cliff and... what's that old lady?
Played by Rhea Perlman?
Yes. Her. Hilarious.
Ruby.
I don't think that's right. That's not
Rhonda?
right. Mm-hmm. Well, Rhonda sounds about right. Frasier, like, all of them. Funny. Carla. There it is. I knew it was some.
Carla.
Yeah, right? Like, but all funny. It just, but like, sometimes when you hyper-focus on one thing, it can just get tough. He's not till later. I think Coach is the first few seasons, but... And I know I sound like an old man talking about Cheers because the show came on before you were born, so, like, I think it ended before you were born, now that I think about it.
Oh, I don't think so.
I think it ended in 91.
Cheers that was not before I was born. It ended in 1993. I was 4 years old. I was already watching Cheers.
No, you were not.
I absolutely was. My mom loved Cheers. I used to watch it with her all the time.
I'm sure your mom was watching Cheers. I don't think you were watching Cheers.
Like...
You were 4.
2 years later, I was watching fucking Frasier.
6 and 4 are fundamentally different in developmental stages. You're going to school and reading at 6.
All right, well, please be sure...
Try that one more time. Cut. Just doesn't work.
I was trying the Peter picked a pack of pickled peppers. Oh, I did it! Earlier.
You know what it is? You were thinking about it earlier when you tried to do it, and then your brain just like, I can't do this. When you just did it, like the muscle memory came back.
Let's try the other one. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. What the fuck?
And on that note, we will see you guys next time.
See you next time.